What's up, guys? Buckle up because you're about to enjoy an excellent Snaps game preview where we tell you everything you need to know about this weekend's game and probably some stuff that you didn't. Enjoy. The Big Ten Championship. Oregon versus Penn State. What an opportunity for Penn State to prove people wrong here, Aaron Murray. This playoff was made for Penn State. Well, congratulations. You did. We all thought you would, and you got here. Now, we maybe didn't expect you the championship. We thought you'd make a playoff, but you're here, right? Because you have proven to us time and time again that you are consistently better than the rest in the big team, but consistently not as good as the best in the Big Ten. And so, James Franklin, can you finally win one of these games? Drew Aller, can you do what all the other white Penn State quarterbacks that were pretty good that go on to be long-term backups in the NFL failed to do and win one of these games? Like, are they capable? And then for Oregon and Dan Lanning, what the fuck, Oregon? How did we arrive here so quickly?
What do you mean, how? We knew this would happen.
No, we thought it would happen.
But we knew this would happen. We knew this would happen.
You could think, I think that's actually a bit of a cheapening of what Lanning and Oregon and everybody has built up there this quickly.
What do you mean it's a cheapening? It's a credit to what he's done building the roster. As soon as they got Dylan Gabriel and Evan Stewart in the transfer portal, I was like, okay, that team's going to freaking go the Big Ten championship.
You can still fuck up, though, dude. You can still step up. You can still fuck up.
They were a favorite for a reason. Their roster is great.
Well, I'm not even talking about just this season. I'm just talking about Dan Lanning gets this job 2 years ago.
And it was a good team. It was a good team.
They're good. No, they're good, not great. They're good. Yes. That's fine. Then NIL shows up. He gets some investment. He has a great year one. Turns down Alabama, convinces Phil Knight to go all in. He then honors Phil Knight's all-in investment with this season, beating Ohio State, unlike Washington last year, going undefeated. Now Phil Knight's all the way in, and he's like, how do you honor your investors? You give them return. Well, he returned Phil Knight with an undefeated season. Now he's in the Big Ten Championship. Yep. Like, Phil Knight's already given him another $20 million for this offseason. What happens if he wins his Big Ten Championship? It's just crazy how fast this rise has happened for Lanning. And now if he wins this, it's unstoppable. Is it year three? I thought it was year two.
Year three. That's what I thought too. It's year three.
What happened in year one at Oregon?
I was about to make the whole comparison to Kirby year two, made it to national championship. Year one is when they got smoked by Georgia in the first game. They ended up going 9-3 that season.
Oh yeah. Huh. Yeah. Interesting. Bo Molnari says, I'm with TBob. Oregon has a long history of blowing big ones. They were trying to slay a dragon too. So I would say yes, but they did beat Ohio State this year, right? So again, different setting, regular season, but like Penn State hasn't been able to do that. What do you think the X factors here are? Because that's kind of like the narrative surrounding both teams. What do you think the X factors are here in terms of what will actually decide where the game goes?
Well, I think there's two players on Penn State that have to have great games: Tyler Warren and Harrison Wallace the third. Like, obviously, we know Tyler Warren's going to be the go-to guy. He's been one of the best playmakers in college football. 81 receptions, 6 touchdowns. He can play quarterback. He can play tight end. He can play receiver. He can do wildcat. Like, he is Mr. Do-It-All. Like, how do you feed him as many footballs as possible? And how do you move him around to a point where Oregon and Dan Lanning can't get two guys on him? Because that's Oregon's game plan. Like, how can you stop Tyler Warren? Because if you can slow him down, you feel pretty good about stopping Penn State. I've said this multiple times on the show. Penn State, besides the running backs and Tyler, lack explosive playmakers. There isn't dynamic guys on the outside that can get up, get going, stretch the field, create an explosive play. Harrison Wallace has done that as of late. He's been a little bit more consistent, but you need someone else to take the pressure off Tyler Warren. Who is going to be that guy? Because this is a game you watch all year long. If you cannot create explosive plays going against a good defense, it's going to be a long day for you. It is hard to methodically move the ball up and down the field against teams for 4 quarters. Penn State versus Ohio State, they did that the very first drive, drove down the field, a nice long drive, and then couldn't do anything the rest of the game. It's difficult to do. I think Drew Aller has been great this season. I like the running backs. I just need more guys on the outside to show up besides Tyler Warren. So if they can find another guy to do that and have a good game, like 6 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown, I think Penn State has a chance. I just think Oregon is more the complete team in the sense of defense, elite quarterback play, really good running back play from James, and then great explosive players on the outside and multiple explosive players on the outside.
See, so that's where it gets a bit weird, though, because statistically, their skill positions aren't that like crazy for Oregon. Like, what's their lead? What does Tez Johnson have? Is he the leader?
Jordan James has 1,100 yards rushing. Tez Johnson, who's been banged up, is back, 67 catches. Evan Stewart has 48 catches. Holden has 36 catches. Ferguson has 35 catches.
That's what I'm saying. Those are the receivers specifically. Those are kind of respectable numbers, but those aren't like
pretty damn good numbers for 4 receivers when you rush the ball for 428 times as well.
I guess what I'm getting at is now okay. So I think
this
both
is
teams,
they have way more rushes than they do, but not way more. 428.
No, exactly. That's my point. So I think your point is still correct in that at the end of the day, when Oregon's weapons have to show up, even though they haven't been relying on them more, they have a better outlet, because what I see are two teams that are actually shockingly similar. Like you said, like they both want to run the hell out of the ball. They both play great defense. Oregon averages 448 yards a game. Penn State's 442. Penn State's 4th nationally, giving up 266 a game. Oregon's 7th at 283. Like Penn State's +7 in the turnover margin. Oregon's +5. The biggest difference would be Oregon's passing attack, which is more than that of Penn State. But like to your point, like both these teams have kind of built these years off of defense and running the ball. And you talk about like a world where Oregon's defense shuts down Penn State, and can Tyler Warren, can they find a way to create explosives and have success? But I think there is some question as to whether or not Oregon can do the same against this Penn State defense.
I trust Oregon and their weapons significantly more than Penn State. I think there's a neutral, if we want to go position by position, I think there's a neutral defense. I think both defenses are elite. I think both defenses are very good. I think both running games are very good. I think both quarterbacks are playing at a high level. Maybe a slight edge to Dylan, who's played a little bit more.
So real quick on the quarterback front, that has been interesting right now. Their quarterback rating is essentially exactly the same.
Drew's been great.
Drew's averaging 9.5 yards per attempt. Dylan Gabriel's at 8.8. Gabriel's got a 24-6 TD to pick ratio. Drew's at 18-5. So it's higher volume for Dylan, but they've been as efficient as one.
And I'll say this about Drew too. Like in certain games this year, I mean, even go back to that Ohio State game, there is a willingness to run. Like he's not, you think this big white 6'5", 225, 230, whatever he is, quarterback, just a statue in the pocket. He's not Dylan. Like Dylan can pop off a 40-yard run and like, oh, there he goes. Like that's a little bit more up his wheelhouse. But Drew has the ability to pull it down and run. So I have been impressed with him throwing the football this year, throwing it with confidence. I think running the football at times, I've been impressed with him as well. I would still give a slight advantage to Oregon in that, not a massive one, not as maybe massive as you would have thought beginning of the year based on the way Aller's played. But I just think like at the end of the day, in these games, who can create explosive plays against these defenses? I trust Oregon more in that category. And I think that's what's going to come down to, who can create more explosives.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think that this game has a chance to be really low scoring though. Unless Oregon's offense just comes out and it's completely locked in. But you're right. Like, while I think both teams are similar, and while I think Penn State's maybe closer than some people are giving them credit for, when push comes to shove, yes, Oregon would appear to have the guys that could break through easier. Though, again, Tyler Warren is the X factor for the Nittany Lions. Yeah. Something else to look at here, Aaron. These are two of the top sack getters in the Big Ten and two of the top pass protectors in the Big Ten. I think Oregon actually leads the way with 38 sacks in the year of the Big Ten. I think Penn State's like 4th. But then they're both number 1 and 2 in terms of protecting the quarterback. So on a thing, when it's like strength on strength like that, Whoever wins that battle on the day, whoever get after the quarterback better on that day, that'll also be another X factor to me in determining who wins this game. And from that regard, maybe nobody's better on the field than Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
For Penn State. Second in the Big Ten with 10 sacks. Jordan Birch, though, to be fair, 8 sacks. You're like, oh, that's pretty good. But he was hurt. He just came back. He's averaging a sack a game. So Abdul Carter, and that's for Oregon. So Abdul Carter and Jordan Birch are 2 names to definitely keep an eye on in terms of players on the defensive side of the ball that could go a long way towards deciding this one.
So ESPN Bet has Oregon as a 3-point favorite, but the matchup predictor on ESPN has Penn State as a 53.7% chance of winning.
So, okay, see, so that's what I'm saying, bro. This shit is like more evenly matched than people.
I'm not saying it isn't. I'm 100%. I think this is a great football game. I respect the hell out of Penn State this year. I was impressed the way they played against Ohio State, even in that loss. It is a physical team. It's a team that's playing well at the quarterback spot. It's a team that we knew was going to play elite football on the defensive side of the football. So I don't think this is – if I woke up Sunday morning and didn't watch the game and I was like, oh, Penn State won, I wouldn't be surprised. I just think Oregon's just a little bit better. Not a ton, just a little bit.
I'm going to take a shot here. And I'm going to call for Penn State to finally find a way to break through, get one of these games, and get it done. They didn't think they were going to be in the Big Ten Championship. They got lucky. All of a sudden, they find themselves in it. I think Drew Aller and James Franklin take advantage. I think Penn State finally wins.
Is there a Dan Lanning, James Franklin piece of this that you question?
Again, no. I mean, James hasn't won one of these in a long time, but he has won a game like Lanning won against Ohio State earlier this year in the past. Probably actually would be the last time he beat Ohio State was in Happy Valley many years ago. Like Lanning won Autzen. No, that's kind of a wash to me.
Okay.
What about you?
I mean, if I had to take a coach, I would take Dan Lanning. But I'm
talking about like a one game. But I mean, I
don't think this is a massive advantage one way or the other. Not like the game we're going to talk about next in the ACC, where I do think that there is a difference possibly. But this one, no, I wouldn't think so. Oh, I don't think it's enough to make a difference in the game.
All right, I'm going to go Penn State. Aaron going.
Oregon. Go Ducks.
Go Ducks. I do agree that like a lot of chat saying Oregon's going to blow them out. I do agree with the point that if Penn State wins, it's going to be a bad. Like the only team that I do think could blow them out would be an Oregon blowout.
That's like Texas. That's like Texas, Georgia to me. I think if there was going to be a blowout in this rematch, Texas would blow out Georgia.
Yeah.
But if Georgia wins, I think it'll be close.
Last note on this. I want to say thank you to Dan Lanning because Dan Lanning was asked about the value of playing in a championship with the playoff and blah, blah. Here's what Lanning had to say, quote, who cares? Put the ball out and let's go play football. You line up against who they put in the bracket. At the end of the day, you got to win your games to get to the end. Obviously, there's a benefit to having more time to prepare for an opponent, and you should have that benefit if you win your conference championship game. So there's definitely a huge advantage there, putting yourself a step closer to the end-all goal. So Lanning, first off, saying, I don't give a fuck. If I want to win a championship, I got to win the bracket anyway. Secondly, saying, yeah, there is a big advantage playing in this game because if you win, you get a bye in a playoff setting, which is a big deal. Thank you, Dan Lanning. You the man.
Get rid of conference championship weekend.
Oh, well, I'd say that was informative and fun. If you agree, please hit the like button, sub, and we'll see you next time for some more snaps.